That is not a comfortable situation to be in. It is not comfortable to be out there going for something when everyone thinks you're a lunatic. These people in the stories that I covered for this book that we're working on. That's not comfortable. I didn't get into it with a lot of these people, but I would imagine, maybe there's reason to go back and ask some of these people these questions. I would imagine most of them had shared experience of some tears, a lot of fear, a lot of confusion. There's this brilliant, I'm going to paraphrase it, there's this brilliant, this is a big Lincoln school, Lincoln quote, where he's just talking, I mean, he's writing his journal, presumably, and he just goes off. He says, at the end of all this, if I have no friends and no one who believes in me, I'll at least know that I have myself. What? Like, this is not just stuff. These are just words. Like, this is a guy who is in charge of the United States. This is a guy who was in a leadership position at the time of a civil war. And he, in a moment of quiet reflection, is saying, hey, I'm fully aware of the fact that there might not be another human being on the planet who has my back. But at least I have the conviction of knowing that I've done the right thing for me. That is absurd. That'd be a day in itself. Can any of us even remotely put ourselves in that scenario where we could say that? I mean, we've been in things like, I don't want to drink tonight, and my friends are going to want to drink. Like, this is the challenge. I have an early morning meeting, and I know I should not go out. Like these are our challenges. Like, this guy's talking about saving millions of lives, and he's willing to throw it on the line. I mean, even Rocky sounds ridiculous in the sense that, but it's still a sacrifice. And you guys said it. It's that sacrifice. What do you want to achieve, and what's the sacrifice? But getting to a place where the sacrifice is worth it. Getting to a place where you believe in what you're trying to do is so important that whatever negative stuff comes with it, you can shoulder it. It's okay. And where I think it ties into today is that's what a mentoring relationship. That's what it's not just the groups you're in, the pairs either. It's the group as a team, as a unit. You guys love getting it. You guys have a shared bond. You guys want to move forward. You want to reach out. You want to share your knowledge. You want to share your stories and learn from other people. And what can be gleaned from that? There's a lot of power there, And I talked about the women's soccer team must think I'm a lunatic. But I was talking about Jim Henson yesterday. Jim Henson case study is phenomenal. And I said this to the women's soccer team. I actually forgot that I put this picture in there, so it just goes to show you how much I like this case study. Talk about it if anyone will listen. This is crazy. I said to the women's soccer team, I said, all right, I got an idea. If I came to you and said, I have an idea. Puppets, TV, education equals millions. Millions. A legacy. Fame, anything you'd ever want. What would you say to this pitch? Laugh? I'm crazy? What's that?
Tee.
What?
Tee.
Tiki?
Tee.
Oh, tee. Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. But basically it sounds absurd, right? And what's so fascinating about that is that there's precedent for it. If I bring this pitch to you now, being able to cite Jim Henson, you think I'm off my rocker. Imagine doing it when there's no precedent. Imagine this guy walking around, Kermit on his head. We're going to make it. I haven't been Kermit was the only guy he was talking to for a long time. Because who's buying into this? Who's going to buy into this? But brilliantly and luckily, Frank Oz did. Some of these other guys did. They came, Carol Spinney did. He's a big bird. Like, these guys came in and started saying, well, wait, maybe there's something to this. Wait, maybe we can explore our own passions by working alongside a guy like this. And slowly, the team builds. And there's this wonderful scene at the end of the first Muppet movie where they basically talk about that. You know, they basically talk about, you know, life's like a movie, make your own ending is one of the lines in the song. And it's inspiring. And we grew up at any point, whether you were, whatever age you were when the Muppets were playing, there's an inspirational element. And now, to the question that I'm stuck with, well, why do we believe that? We didn't, in my opinion, I actually have gone on record saying, like, this is the great American failure. This is one of the greatest ironies in recent history, in my opinion. Because this guy literally died. He died trying to say to people, you can achieve anything. If I can have an office on the Upper East Side, and another office in London, and another office in LA, and I can make not only a living, but a revolution, an entertainment revolution with puppets, you guys can do anything. This is what he died trying to tell people and trying to tell children. And what I think when I say failure, I mean, I obviously know that that has to be tempered, but I say it for effect. We don't always live our lives that way. You know, we're not always going out there like, I'm going to be a puppeteer today. I'm going to make it with whatever absurd concept I have. And I just wanted to drop that out there and hear what you think. I mean, am I wrong, or is there an element of truth to that, or? Yeah.
I don't even know if this is the answer to your question, but I have, similar to the way you're looking at this one, there's one that I look to. And, there's a guy named Mark Fishman who works for Novartis.
Okay. And
in the mid-90s, everyone thought he was crazy, absolutely off the reservation, except for a couple people from Novartis, and they decided to give him some money to do some research. Ended up coming up with a drug called Gleevec. And now, if you have a very rare form of cancer called chronic myelogenous leukemia, you're less likely to die of having the cancer than anything else, which to me sounds like they've essentially cured that cancer. And so it's the same exact story. Everybody thought he was nuts. Yet he went out there and he cured this very rare cancer.
Right, right.
And so I look at that one and say, how can you not do anything?
Right. Yeah.
Far less brilliant than these two examples, but you know, for me, I look at every day it's like riding a bike. You're not moving forward, you're falling in. So at the end of every day, you know, some days more than others, but I do think about that, and I think that, you know, in terms of just kind of progress happening. I mean, this guy didn't quit, that guy didn't quit. Doesn't mean you're going to cure cancer, revolutionize children's entertainment, but as long as you're moving forward, still I have got that.
Yeah, yeah.
I would presume, though, that I think, I mean, my personal view is that people who do have certain things that are good. Like, for example, my wife's passion is music. Okay, so I bought. She has a little keyboard and she plays the violin, but it also has a keyboard. So I bought a basic piano handle. I've never thought I'd be into that music. I sat down. I can't even get the rhythm. I don't even know if rhythm's the right word because I know so little about music. But I can't even play one line of music with the right time. So I would assume that it's probably not a realistic goal for me to go and play with some fine orchestra because I have other talents. So I think that within the talents that I have, I could probably go far if I do the things you're saying. But I just think that, I'm not trying to sound cynical, but I presume that Jim Henson probably had some basic aptitude for art or entertainment or certain skill sets that allowed him to do that. I assume that this person that developed the cancer drug probably was a person that had some training or some aptitude for that kind of research.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's cases where that's not true, but I think in general, people probably are more disposed to go a certain way. Like, I don't think I could stand up and say, I'm going to go become the finest musician in my life.
Sure.
It just seems like
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, that's definitely reasonable. I think, if anything, I'm just trying to get across the idea that perhaps we all have something in us. And it's not, the other irony to a certain extent of me even bringing this case study up, it doesn't matter to me. Don't go be Jim Henson. Go be the best darn deli owner, you know, whatever, wherever you live, Morgantown, West Virginia. Like, have the best deli in Morgantown, West Virginia. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I couldn't care less. You know, I'm just of the mindset that there's an opportunity for all of us to go out and be our best. Whatever that is, it's academic. Because when you're operating in that fashion, there's a solace that comes with that. That, hey, I'm doing my best, and I'm pitching in, and I'm contributing, and I'm part of society, a positive part of society. So yeah, as far as the talents go, I'm right there with, I'm 100% on board. Any other thoughts? I think in sort of wrapping it together, I really did just want to make the point that, you know, you look at some of these to a certain extent, oddballs in history, and they went out and they did these things that seem so fantastic, and we talk about them or we see them or whatever the case might be, whatever our relationship with them is, we lose sight sometimes of all that went into it. I actually refer to this to a certain extent of this phenomenon of the 1 hour documentary. You know, you sit down, everything there is to know about Winston Churchill, and off you go. Like, you know that guy. Well, but you don't. You know, you don't. You sit down and you hear X, Y, or Z about Michael Jordan or this athlete or that athlete, but you completely lose perspective of all those lonely days, all those walks of not having any clue where they were going. You know, hindsight's 20/20. You look back on a career and you won the Academy Award, great. But before that, when you were sleeping on your buddy's couch and calling mom because you were lonely and you ran out of money for pizza, but that's not so great. You know, and we so often lose sight of all that middle ground. And then we wind up comparing ourselves to, you know, a guy like Jim Henson, like, oh yeah, he did, oh, that's just amazing. He did a really cool thing with the public.